Hello everyone. In today's video I'm going to be taking another look at my Lukas watercolors. The reason for this second look is that quite a few people have mentioned that they found Lukas watercolors to be chalky. This is something that you would usually associate with some student grade and below watercolors, not really with a brand that claims to be artist grade. So what do people mean by chalky? Do people mean that the paints actually resemble chalk in texture? Or are we confusing paints that are more opaque with being chalky? Hopefully we'll be able to see in this video. So let's start by swatching them all out. First up is Cadmium Yellow Pale, PY35. As you can see by the little black square box in the bottom left corner, this is an opaque colour. Next is Raw Sienna, which is PBR7. The box with a line through it in the bottom left corner means that this one is semi-transparent. Next is Genuine Rose, PV19. Lukas say this one is also semi-transparent. Next is Madder Lake Deep, which is PR264. The clear box in the bottom left corner means that this one is transparent. Next is Dioxazine Violet, PV23. The half shaded box in the bottom left corner means this one is semi-opaque. Now on to Phthalo Blue, which is PB156. According to Lukas, this one is semi-transparent. Cerulean Blue, PB36. Lukas say this one is semi-opaque. Next is Phthalo Green, PG7. This one is semi-transparent. And finally we have Olive Green, PG36 and PO36. Lukas classed this one as semi-opaque. Okay, so there they are, all painted out. What do you think about them? Do they look chalky to you? To me, they definitely have a pastel kind of look, and they're definitely more opaque than I would expect. But then again, Lukas aren't claiming them to be transparent. Apart from the Madder Lake Deep, they are all either semi-transparent, semi-opaque, or opaque. I was struggling to think of ways I could test the chalkiness of the paints. I had a look on YouTube and found some people testing chalky paints by scratching the paint so it cracks, or lightly rubbing with tissue to see if a chalky residue lifts. But the tests they were doing were on very cheap, low grade paints. You know, the kind that come in a solid round chalky puck. These Lukas paints are nothing like that. Nothing rubs off when I rub it with tissue, and the paint definitely doesn't flake or crack. One thing I did want to do though, is to compare the Lukas Genuine Rose PV19 with a PV19 and white mix. So here I'm painting the permanent rose out relatively thick. This Genuine Rose is the Lukas paint I consider to be the most pastel or possibly chalky looking. Maybe it's just because in my mind I think of PV19 as being transparent. And I'm going to use this Van Gogh Quinacridone Rose. Van Gogh say this is transparent, though Van Gogh in general tend to be a little more opaque than most brands. Now I'm going to mix the Van Gogh with a little PW6 white. I'm not going to match the genuine rose colour exactly, but I'm just trying to show what I would consider a chalky looking paint. It looks pretty chalky when wet. We will see how it is when it's dry. Okay, so it's not as chalky when dry, but you can still see some white residue on the black lines. How do you think it compares to the Lukas? I'm not really sure this shows anything about the Lukas being chalky or not, but it was a fun experiment to do anyway. Here's the genuine rose painted out alongside a couple of Rembrandt semi-transparent paints. I don't think it seems any more opaque than these two. I think it just looks like a pastel pink colour. Now I'm going to try a quick painting with the Lukas paints. Let's see if I can tell any difference from my normal paints. I do like this cerulean blue I'm using in the sky. It's usually one of my least favourite colours. So far they're pretty nice to paint with, but I definitely do get a pastel vibe from them. They feel much more mellow than my usual paints. That might be because I'm just not used to them at the moment. Okay, all done. I quite like the result I got from these paints, but they're definitely more opaque and feel less intense than I'm used to. That's not necessarily a bad thing, it all depends on the look that you want. So, do you think these paints are chalky? Or is it that they are just more opaque than other brands? And because some colours that we expect to be transparent are more opaque, it gives them an almost pastel look. Here you can see the Phthalo Blue, which we would expect to be transparent but clearly isn't. And it's the same here with the Phthalo Green PG7. Every other brand I've checked has PG7 as a transparent paint. This leads me to wonder why the paints are like this. Lukas clearly must intend to make their paints more opaque than others, as they do label both Phthalos as semi-transparent. They're not trying to pretend that they are transparent. I guess it's a choice they've made about the look they want from their product, or is it a cost-saving measure? Are they putting more fillers in the paint to bulk it out? That could explain why Lukas paint seems such good value, especially for the more expensive cadmium and cobalt pigments. Okay, so I think my conclusion from this video is that these Lukas paints are not chalky. At least the ones I have here are not. They're just more opaque than other brands. Whether this is due to more filler, I don't know. One thing I will say about them though is that they're very nice to paint with, and I quite enjoy the look I get from them in my paintings. And that's the most important thing, right? So what do you think? Does the fact that these Lukas paints are more opaque put you off them, or are you still tempted to give them a go? I hope this video has helped your decision a little either way. They're definitely not for everyone, but for me and the way I paint, I think they're great value. Especially the Cerulean Blue I have here. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye bye.